this meeting, and they are free to ask questions at any time. As noted on the agenda posted to the Internet, we welcome public comment on the items on the following agenda. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak for up to 4 minutes. One speaker per group, please. Speakers' comments may address only items considered at today's meeting. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on our agenda today. And if so, I would ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourselves from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. So let me give directors a chance to make any such disclosures. Thank you. The foregoing having been noted for the record, I will now ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the July 17, 2014 Directors Meeting.
Move. Second.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions with regard to the minutes? That's really backwards, but I guess there aren't because you've already adopted them. But I'll ask again to get it in order, and so Eileen, for the record, can reflect that we did this in the right order. If there are no questions, comments, additions, deletions with regard to the the minutes of the meeting of July 17th, may I ask again for a motion to approve?
Yeah, move.
Thank you, Mr. Cephas.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Seconded by Mr. Dyson. All in favor? All right, good. So moved. Directors are therefore approved. Let's move ahead. We have a long agenda today,
Including the teddy bear building.
including a lot of projects all across the state and some administrative items as well. I will now ask, this is the first one, is administrative. I will now ask Benson Martin, one of the new members of Liz Fine's legal team, to present ESD's revised mission statement for consideration by the directors. Benson, good morning.
Thank you, Kenneth. The members are asked to re-examine our current mission statement and adopt a new one. The proposed mission statement sums up what ESD does in a shorter, catchier, and better way, while still comporting with our statutory requirements under the Public Authorities Law. The Governance Committee has reviewed and approved the proposed mission statement. Now we ask for your approval.
Thank you, Benson. Any questions or comments from directors in regard to this item?
I'm not a big one for mission statements, but this is good because it's accurate.
Well, it's also, as Benson has explained, more, I think, direct and concise, which we're trying to do so we can present it in more situations as we describe our work. Very good. Any questions from the public with regard to this particular item? Well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for its approval.
Move. Second.
Thank you. So this motion is made by Mr. Dyson, seconded by Mr. Cephas. All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. And thank you, Benson, for taking care of that. I know now there are other steps in the process of getting that approved, but the board action is the first key step we need to take. Now we're going to, for our next item, Joe Chan, as everyone knows is our EVP for real estate and development all around the state, is going to present the Fresh Direct LLC item for the director's consideration. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Thank you, Kenneth and directors. We are here today to seek approval of a $9 million Urban Community Redevelopment Program grant and a $1 million Metropolitan Economic Revitalization Fund loan to Fresh Direct LLC. Fresh Direct is the largest U.S. direct-to-consumer internet grocer and delivers a full line of competitively priced grocery products to its customers' doors. The company currently fulfills orders out of 3 warehouses in Long Island City, Queens. Fresh Direct has experienced significant growth since it acquired its Long Island City headquarters in 1999 and had determined in 2011 that it needed to find a long-term solution to its capacity needs and inefficiencies from operating out of multiple facilities. Fresh Direct decided to consolidate into one facility, and then identified sites in Jersey City, New Jersey, and the Bronx as suitable options for consolidation. New Jersey had offered a substantial amount, approximately $100 million in subsidies and tax breaks for Fresh Direct to relocate to a site in Jersey City. In order to make the Bronx location more economically feasible and to induce Fresh Direct to proceed with the project in the Bronx, in February 2012, ESD issued an incentive proposal for a $9 million UCDP grant, a $1 million MRF loan, and $18.2 million in Excelsior tax credits. Fresh Direct plans to break ground next month on a 424,000 square foot facility that will allow this consolidation into one larger, new, and efficient facility, which will provide greater operating capacity and substantial operating efficiencies. The total project investment is anticipated to be approximately $166 million. ESD's grant and loan assistance require the retention of 1,949 jobs through January 1st, 2025. Fresh Direct is currently exceeding that requirement as they now have 2,398 jobs. Again, we are seeking the approval of the $9 million UCDP grant and a $1 million MRF loan. It is also notable, and I actually should have mentioned this much earlier, that Fresh Direct has committed to create 946 new jobs. And one additional note that is very relevant to this board and to our mission is that Fresh Direct purchases from approximately 60 New York State farms and has established very strong and very ongoing business relationships. So we put this before the directors for consideration, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Joe, thank you for presenting this item for our consideration this morning. Let me start by asking if there are any questions or comments from our ESD directors on the item.
I just have a quick question. I think this says in the book that the current employment level is 2,754. I think you gave me a different, I think you just stated a different number.
Okay.
So, maybe I have an old book or something.
Well, it could be, there's a minimum employment requirement for the grant, even if, and their current employment can exceed that.
No, but
Our number's the minimum.
the number I think he just stated as a current employment number is different from what's here. I believe.
I will double check on that. Again, for the grant, there's a commitment to retain,
That's what you're saying.
1949 jobs.
Right. But I think you just said it was 2,300 something for.
I have 2,398.
Yeah, this says
on that.
2,754.
We may have just had a disconnect between when the materials were reviewed by the company and submitted for printing and what the material that Joe has, but we'll confirm, and if we need to correct the corporate record.
It's a big
anyway,
difference, though. It's
yeah,
like,
we'll do
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
400 jobs.
We will double check on that.
And so the requirement for the loan and the grant is that they maintain what they have now, and the requirement for getting the tax credits is that they
Correct.
increase.
Right. I mean, I think that's an important point. That the 1949 number is the minimum required over the life of the grant for the grant, for the MRF loan, and for the UCDP grant. The Excelsior tax credit portion of the incentive package, they can only collect on that if they create close to 1,000,
Right.
900 and something, 946 new jobs on top of that base, correct?
Yep,
So
that's correct.
Excelsior obviously is triggered, the wage portion of that is triggered by the new jobs.
Right.
And this baseline figure secures the grant and loan.
Exactly.
So we can just nail down what the current level is.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will tell
Thank you,
you,
Eric.
I see these trucks all over New York.
Yeah, sure.
And any apartment building or co-op, you see the boxes and the thing. I mean, in fact, some buildings have had issues with the boxes piling up in the refuse areas of their various landings.
Yeah.
I know the building that I have a place in has, and it's a big issue now because they're getting so popular. These guys, you call them in the morning and you get it that afternoon. And if you're busy, you don't have to go to the food market and everything. It's really impressive how potent this thing is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a whole paradigm shift. You know, I want it when I want it, and I want it convenient, and I don't want to chase around. And apparently, their prices are fairly comparable to the food markets.
Makes it work.
Makes it work. Yeah. Well, we have some members of the public who do want to comment on this project, and of course, directors. After we hear the public comment, if anyone has additional questions, we can discuss it. But thank you to both of you for your questions and comments. I understand that we have some attendees this morning who wish to make comments on this item, which we welcome, I would say, and I'd like to reiterate the time allotment for the comments. I mentioned this a moment ago in the introductory remarks for today's meeting. 2 minutes for individual speakers, please. I think there's a timer on the wall. And 4 minutes for an individual if he or she is representing an organization. 1 representative per organization or per group, please. And I'd like to stress that it's not a Q&A session. It's an opportunity for members of the public to comment on the project and on the requested or suggested board action, and our directors will take everyone's comments into thoughtful consideration before we put this up for a vote. Now, Destiny Burns often helps us when we have public comments at our board meetings in terms of inviting people to, do we have a podium set up today, Destiny? We do, right? In terms of inviting speakers who've signed in to the podium to share their comments. Destiny, the fun part of her job is inviting you to the podium. The not so fun part of her job is, ringing the gong if you hit your 2 minutes, but that's her job. And that keeps us on schedule. So, Destiny, thank you, as always, for your help this morning. And why don't you introduce our first speaker, please?
Our first speaker representing Fresh Direct is Gerald Bennett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Members of the Empire State Development Corporation, thank you for the invitation to speak about Fresh Direct's economic incentive grant proposal to support a new facility in the South Bronx. I'm Gerald Bennett, Chief Financial Officer for Fresh Direct. It's a privilege to appear before the board and share with you Fresh Direct's 12-year history as an employer and community partner in New York. To start, I would like to share some good news. As you may know, we have been in contract negotiations with the leadership of UFCW Local 2013 for the past few weeks. We are pleased that several weeks before our agreement was due to expire, our transport workers ratified a new contract. Our goal during negotiations was to reach a contract that works for everyone, one that continues to provide for employees and their families and gives us flexibility to address business challenges. We are pleased that this contract achieves this goal. I'd like to share a little background about Fresh Direct for those who are unfamiliar. We opened our doors in 2002 with the simple belief that New Yorkers deserved access to high-quality, fresh foods on terms that were convenient for them. It's hard to believe today, with so many companies clamoring to provide consumers with door-to-door services, that Fresh Direct was the innovator of online grocery delivery services. 12 years later, we are a homegrown New York success story. Fresh Direct has generated approximately $1 billion in economic activity in the state over the last 10 years. We employ nearly 3,000 people, 90% of whom reside in the 5 boroughs. We serve tens of thousands of households every week in 5 states, including the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan areas, and we are a conscientious neighbor and generous community partner. We are proud of our roots as a New York company, and we carry a strong sense of responsibility towards our people, our customers, and our communities. We are based in New York. We work in New York. We buy and sell New York products. We provide services in New York, and we hire New Yorkers. We view our success as New York's success. One of our founding principles was to improve access to wholesome, direct-from-the-farm fresh foods and healthy options. Today, we apply this core value not only to our customers, but also to the broader New York community. Since 2002, Fresh Direct has donated millions of dollars in product, services, time, and money to dozens of organizations that feed the hungry, provide nutritional counseling, and spur economic development. In the past year, we have provided charitable donations and sponsorships to numerous New York-based organizations, including City Harvest, New York Food Bank, Food Fight, the New York Restoration Project, and the East River Development Alliance. In the Bronx, we have made financial donations or sponsored events hosted by the Green Bronx Machine, the John B. Lindsay Charter School, the Bronx Defenders, Give Them to Eat, Help People, Part of the Solution, Rock the Boat, and Bronx Tech Meetup. Since 2013, we have donated more than 64,000 in Fresh Direct gift cards to charitable organizations, and every year we host an annual Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. Last year we provided more than 2,300 Thanksgiving turkeys to residents of the Bronx and throughout New York, and we're already making plans to do a similar giveaway this coming November. We intend to expand our commitment to community and charitable partnerships as we move to our new home in the Bronx. We're excited about our future in the Bronx. After 12 years in Queens, we've outgrown our operating space, and we need to relocate to a new home. We believe the Bronx is a perfect fit for us. We chose the Bronx because of its convenience for our nearly 3,000 employees, nearly 20% of whom live in the Bronx, as well as the excellent transport access to all areas in the metro region. We see great potential in the Bronx, and we look forward to being a good neighbor. We know that being a good neighbor means being a good employer. We're proud of our employees, and we want to honor their hard work by providing a workplace that is safe and rewarding. We aspire to be the employer of choice in the Bronx, a place where people want to come to work and build careers. To that end, our new state-of-the-art production facility and corporate headquarters in the South Bronx will bring 1,000 new jobs over the next 10 years. We also want to continue to bring new opportunities to Bronx residents. Since 2013, Fresh Direct, with the approval of Governor Cuomo and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, has piloted a program to make online grocery delivery available to holders of electronic benefit transfer cards who reside in 2 Bronx zip codes. This has been an exciting program, and we think there are other innovative things we can do to benefit the residents of the Bronx. As the ESDC considers Fresh Direct's economic grant proposal, we hope the board recognizes that our planned move to the Bronx is aligned with the ESDC's goals of promoting healthy business growth. We have had a successful past, and we believe we have a bright future. The grant money we hope to receive from ESDC will be a critical component of our plan to build the Harlem River Yards and create new jobs and economic opportunities for Bronx residents and businesses. We appreciate the board's consideration and believe that our public-private partnership will represent an important investment by all parties to stimulate the local economy, encourage private sector growth, create new jobs, and ensure Fresh Direct remains a New York company. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Our next speaker representing the Bronx Borough President is Alfred.
We don't care. It's close enough. Everybody screws it up.
Could I ask all speakers, please, to speak clearly into the microphone, and if that means moving it somewhat to get it closer, that's helpful. Remember that this meeting is being simulcast across the state, and we want to have the sound be really clear.
I'll be as loud as I can.
Loud and clear is helpful.
I don't believe anyone has ever accused me of not being loud enough, but I'll do my best. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to testify on behalf of the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz, and the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. I testify in favor of Fresh Direct's move to the Bronx, and in favor of the subsidy package the state has presented to the company. When Fresh Direct's move to the Bronx was first announced, the company entered into a memorandum of understanding with my office and the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. That MOU stated, among other things, that Fresh Direct would commit to local hiring, that they would expand their services to the entire Bronx, that they would build a green delivery fleet, and that they would work to accept EBT benefits for their services. Since Fresh Direct first announced their move to the Bronx in February of 2012, they have been a good neighbor, and they have done everything we have asked of them. In turn, they deserve our support in return. Fresh Direct currently has a workforce of roughly 3,000 individuals, about 600 of whom live in the Bronx and commute to Long Island City every day. Before Fresh Direct even put a shovel into the ground in the Bronx, they have worked with BOEDC to hire Bronxites and bring new jobs to our residents. They have also come to an agreement with UFCW Local 2013, which represents roughly 900 Fresh Direct employees, on a new contract, and my office is happy to see such cooperation between labor and management. Fresh Direct has expanded its services to every corner of the Bronx, something it does not necessarily do in other boroughs. For those who receive EBT benefits, Fresh Direct has launched a pilot program in the 10454 and the 10455 zip codes to accept EBT benefits from eligible Bronxites. Currently, EBT benefits cannot be accepted by online retailers due to federal law, and Fresh Direct is working to change this law so that they and other online retailers can expand their services to more individuals and family who want to take advantage of their services. Fresh Direct has also begun the process of greening its fleet. Over the past months, the company has converted 10% of its truck fleet to environmentally friendly fuels, as it tests both electric trucks and compressed natural gas trucks in advance of a full conversion. Most importantly, the company has committed to bringing new jobs to our borough. As I previously stated, the company has 600 Bronx employees. Employees who would have likely been unable to keep their jobs if the company had moved to New Jersey. Upon their move to the Bronx, they will expand their company and in turn be able to hire even more Bronx residents. This project represents new jobs, new development, and new growth, and is a key component of our New Bronx agenda. I have supported this program from the day it was announced, and now that it has cleared the hurdles placed before it, I would urge the Empire State Development Corporation to join me in that support. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Harry Velez.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, hello, my name is Harry Velez, and I'm a First Direct employee and lifelong Bronx resident. To me, First Direct is about opportunity. I started out as an hourly employee in the shipping department around 2008, and I was the first person to be chosen by the company for a training program, a program that basically advanced hourly employees into management roles. Now I'm a supervisor for the shipping department, and I'm responsible for training hourly employees as well. I'm so proud to say that I helped at least 6 people get promoted while advancing my own career. I was born and raised in the Bronx, so I know a lot about the community, and the people are excited about First Direct. The Bronx need more companies like First Direct, companies that are creating jobs for the residents, that are promoting from within, and that are offering career opportunities. They've been great to start telling people that First Direct is coming to the Bronx. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Destiny, who's next?
Representing South Bronx Unite, A. Michael Johnson.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Johnson. I'm a resident of Mount Haven, Port Morris, the area in which Fresh Direct wants to relocate. I'm also a board member of the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality. I'm also a member of South Bronx Unite and a co-founder. I'm also a member of REBNY, Real Estate Board of New York. As a resident of Mount Haven, Port Morris, I want to tell the board members today that our asthma rates are, which I'm sure most people in this room know, are 8 times the national average. Our hospitalization rates due to asthma is 21 times that of other New York City communities. And we're trying to, today here, you're here to discuss and look over this board package on a plan that supposedly has no environmental impact, or will have no environmental impact. But when you have a company that's diesel truck intensive, like one of the board members mentioned, their potent impact on our community, potential impact will be great. We're talking about 3,000 vehicle trips per day, more than 1,000 diesel truck trips per day going through a community that has the highest asthma rates in the country, and there is no potential environmental impact. Well, I say the South Bronx has been dealt a really hard blow in the last 3 or 4 decades. We have people here from the South Bronx Economic Development, SOBRO. We have people here from the Borough President's Office. We have people here from around the city that know the South Bronx has been dealt a terrible blow as it pertains to environmental injustice, to health crises, and to live in a peninsula with no direct access to water. I mean, everywhere else in New York City, our community has been, the communities have been around water, have been given access to it. But now we're talking about bringing Fresh Direct to a location in our area that's the last potential access point to any type of water or quality of life improvement or pride building impact. Now, Fresh Direct may be available or may be good for New York City for job improvement, may be good for the Bronx, may be good for the state of New York. But it's not good for the Mount Haven, Port Morris neighborhood. The environmental impact statement they have relied upon is more than 20 years old. Where else in New York City is that acceptable? The environmental impact statement they're relying upon does not bring into account the fact that the area surrounding Fresh Direct has been rezoned twice. by the city, by the city council and city planning and the community board, which I was a member on for 8 years, but since I started opposing this project, I wasn't reassigned to the board. Okay, so not only has the area been rezoned twice to make it rezoned for residential use, but now we have thousands of more residents living right there who will want to find somewhere else to live when they have an increased truck traffic. We already have a 5,000-ton waste transfer station sitting right on that land. We already have the New York Post and Wall Street Journal printing and distribution on that land. We already have the FedEx hub sitting on that land. Have our kids not suffered enough? We respect and rely on this board and other boards like it who have a voice in this project to say, hold up and let's look at this a little bit more carefully, because our local elected officials have said they should. Maria Del Carmen Arroyo, our speaker. Melissa Margarita, our speaker. Melissa Del Carmen Arroyo, our councilperson. State Senator Serrano and Congressman Serrano said, hold up and let's do a moratorium on future development on that land until a thorough analysis can be done as to the effects. Now, if you need the letter, we'll present it to you. But Congressman Serrano sat in front of the board president here and said, hold up on funds because I'm not sure about how the money should be given to Fresh Direct because the asthma for our children is suffering, it's dire. So I'm pleading to you moralistically that please look at this a little bit more carefully before you sign on the dotted line and say, move on with this project. This may be good for New York, may be good for the Bronx, may be good for New York City and state, but for this neighborhood it's not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And thanks for taking the time to come down this morning.
Thank you.
Destiny?
Our next speaker is Colleen Kohut.
So, my name is Corinne Kohut. I am a 12-year resident of the Mott Haven Port Morris section in which Fresh Direct aims to relocate. And echoing some of what Michael said, I want to send this around. Hopefully there's an opportunity for you to take this one piece of paper, to reflect on it, and also to have good, meaningful questions at the public hearing when the public hearing is planned. I want to start by just saying that we were given, and this is very symptomatic of how this entire process has happened in our community in the South Bronx, which, as Michael said, has been dealt blow after blow after blow for decades. It's internationally renowned for the health crisis that exists in the South Bronx, and it's not a result of how South Bronx people are living. It's a result of policies that are implemented at tables like these without any public input taking place. This meeting itself, the community was only given 24 hours notice. We found out about it at 5:30 p.m. last night that this was going to take place. And then we found out that it's just a board meeting. It's not an opportunity for public comment. So we thought, we breathed a sigh of relief and knew that the public comment period would be taking place sometime in the future, and we understand that to be the case. But where it gets tipped and where it's not fair is that Fresh Direct knew about this way in advance, right, as communicated through ESD to Fresh Direct to make public presentations. I'll be quick and finish this quickly. What we need is a better process for letting the community know. South Bronx Unite is a coalition of more than 50 organizations. Fresh Direct does not have the support of one organization in the Mott Haven Port Morris section in which it intends to move. The community is 100% united against the relocation of this project. And I want to say two final things, and I'll elaborate more at the public comment session. The public hearing, one of which is Fresh Direct has the ability to stay in Long Island City and expand. That's constantly left off of the record. They have that ability. We're not against Fresh Direct per se. We're against Fresh Direct's relocation to the South Bronx and using public money to do that because it's going to exacerbate a health crisis that was already outlined and documented by Michael. Please read the one sheet of paper that Marion hopefully has already handed out, and we look forward to a really thoughtful, meaningful dialogue with the community at large when it takes place in the Bronx in about a month.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Destiny.
Our next speaker is Jackie Acevedo Acevedo Villanueva.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Acevedo Villanueva, and I'm here to represent the 204th Street Bainbridge Avenue Merchant Association, and I am also the CEO of Moss Marketing. I am a longtime resident of the Bronx, born and raised in the South Bronx, and I formed the company in 2007. Being that there was no opportunity for me to launch a company in the South Bronx where I thought it would be a great idea where companies and clients would retain our services, we decided to move to Throsneck. Companies like Fresh Direct, bringing a positive highlight into the Bronx and to the area would help companies like myself who moved out of the South Bronx area into Public City and other areas come back home. Our company, what we do is we do a lot of events in the Bronx, which is our mission to promote the Bronx and bring a positive light of what the Bronx has to offer in the neighborhood and the communities. We work closely with the 204th Street Merchant Association, which they do a festival every year, and the merchants get to promote their businesses, their services, and it brings a lot of positivity into the limelight. So having Fresh Direct come into the Bronx, me being a South Bronx resident myself, born and raised, growing up in that neighborhood, I think it's going to be a good thing because I was tired of hearing bashing and negativity of where I was born and raised, especially when I still go into meetings, oh, you're from the South Bronx, is that where you come from? And I'm always constantly fighting battles because there aren't great companies in the area representing who we are, where we come from. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acevedo Villanueva. Destiny, who's next?
Our next speaker is Milton Moore.
Good morning, my name is Milton Moore. I've been employed with Fresh Direct for 5 years. I started out as a driver and got promoted to a depot lead. 3 years ago, I started this program called Drills Build Skills, teaching the kids the fundamentals of basketball. Reached out to Urban Upbound, formerly known as East River Development, told them I needed help. See the kids sitting around, nothing to do in the neighborhood, so we need help. So we reached out to Fresh Direct, and Fresh Direct has been a big support of this program for the kids in the neighborhood. And I think Fresh Direct would be a good opportunity to move out to the Bronx to help kids in the urban community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moore.
Our next speaker is Charlie Waring.
Good morning, and thanks for having us here. My name is Charlie Waring. I'm the Program and Operations Manager at the Active Citizen Project. We're a small organization that promotes new modes of public thought and social action that allow everyday people to pursue their mutual well-being. Our main program is Project EATS, which helps develop farms in working class communities, providing them with affordable, chemical-free, nutritious, and delicious produce. We also help create local jobs, provide healthy food choices, and improve certain environmental conditions in our urban communities. Fresh Direct has been a Project EATS partner since its beginning. They're the first grocer to sell our products. Their support, guidance, and business have been invaluable as we've grown Project EATS from a startup program to a thriving community effort. Fresh Direct is a great example of a New York City company that supports and nurtures other young businesses. I'm happy to be here today to support Fresh Direct as they head into their next phase of growth, one that I'm sure will benefit more organizations like ours. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Raymond Talavera.
Good morning. My name is Raymond Talavera, and I work for Fresh Direct in the Transportation Department. Before Fresh Direct, I work at Tuscan Farms, and I worked there for 17 years. And as I started Fresh Direct, I wanted to start another long-term opportunity. When others closed doors on the seasoned veterans such as myself, Fresh Direct opened their doors welcomingly. From young employees to older employees such as myself, they do not discriminate, they take everyone. And I have definitely found it a wonderful place to work. Fresh Direct is not just a job, it's a career. Fresh Direct gives everyone a shot. The job is yours to lose and yours to make a career out of. It's a wonderful experience if you apply yourself. Fresh Direct is a real family company. They do not treat you like a number, they treat you as a person. The company is also very active in the community, and I have been involved in several community activities. As they said earlier, turkey giveaways and various other projects as well. There is nothing but positive energy around me as I work day in and day out, from the managers to the other employees. I would say when everyone else is leaving NYC, Fresh Direct is growing and expanding in NYC and the nearby communities as well, and the outer boroughs and the outer states staying within. I'm proud to be a part of Fresh Direct, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Talavera. Destiny, who's our next speaker?
Our next speaker representing Sobro is Bill Morrow.
I'm the president of Sobro, Phil Morrow.
Morning, Phil.
Sobro's been in the Bronx. We were born in 1972, over 40 years of doing economic development programs in that community. I'm standing here before you today to support the program that you're putting forward, the funding for Fresh Direct. As you know, the Bronx is the borough with the highest unemployment in New York State. It's got the lowest income. It's the poorest county in the state of New York. The jobs are vital to make that change, and how we need, and someone's been working on that for all these years. We have a workforce development program, we do economic development programs. It's very important for us to increase the incomes of the people who live in that neighborhood. We've been working in Mott Haven all of the time. We've worked on Bruckner Boulevard, we've worked on the rezoning, we've been very active in the very neighborhood and on the rail yard, and the development of the rail yard. It was a vital part of the economic development strategy for the neighborhood, and the businesses that have gone there have had a positive impact on that neighborhood and on the economy of the South Bronx. As you know, that things are changing there in the Bronx. We are not just in Port Morris, but in Hunts Point and in all the industrial areas. We're seeing new businesses develop and establish business and grow and provide employment opportunities. I think it's vitally important for us that Fresh Direct come. I would say when I heard that Fresh Direct wanted their corporate headquarters to be in Mott Haven, I jumped for joy. I was quite surprised of the opposition. I just didn't understand it. We're not making a beach on a little creek that runs by this site. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I have to say, we are an organization, a large one in that neighborhood, have been there all these years, and are supporting Fresh Direct. So there are many more other organizations there that have supported this development and the growth and the business and the jobs that Fresh Direct is going to represent. Now, as a community responsible business, they have reached out to us, and as you've heard, to many others, and they've been supporting our programs and helping us with employment opportunities in their companies. We have met regularly with the chairman, with the members of the staff of this organization. It's quite unusual in a sense that the new companies moving in make the effort they've made to reach out to the community. I think it's been remarkable, laudable, and should be followed by others. I encourage you today to support this funding for this very important business coming to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't have anybody else on our list. Is there anybody else who wanted to speak?
Destiny, those are all the individuals who have signed in. Oh, please, let's continue.
Morning, everybody. My name is John Pappas. I'm founder and vice chairman of Dairyland, the Chef's Warehouse. I am pleased to be here today in support of Fresh Direct's application for the Empire State Development Corporation. We are one of Fresh Direct's first and original partners of over a decade and have enjoyed a great working relationship with them ever since. We started Dairyland USA in 1985 in the Bronx with 5 employees. Nearly 30 years later, we are still in the Bronx and constructing a new facility. We employ more than 400 people today. It's almost 500 actually. A number that continues to grow. And Fresh Direct is one of the reasons I can stand here and say that. The growth and expansion of Fresh Direct has contributed directly to the growth of Dairyland. enabling us to continue hiring locally and growing our business here in the Bronx. I hope to see Fresh Direct continue its success, continue to grow, and infuse that momentum into the Bronx community, one that I feel will greatly benefit the borough. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pappas.
Do we have any others?
Any other speakers from the public on this item? If not, I want to take a moment to thank all of you for coming to our offices here at ESD today, taking time away from your jobs and families and other obligations to express your concerns and support or in opposition to the project or to our board actions. It's a very helpful part of this process, as some of you have noted. So thank you again. If there are no further comments from the public, I'll turn back to our directors and ask if they have any additional questions.
I have a question.
Please.
So from our perspective, ESDC, can you just describe what the process is with regard to our involvement in the overall project once we get past today, assuming this is approved today?
Yes, there will be a public hearing that will occur later this fall. Fresh Direct will draw down the grant money for the construction of the project in phases. So basically, the corporation will be making progress payments to Fresh Direct based on them completing certain milestones in construction. As it relates to the Excelsior tax credits, they will need to demonstrate that they've created the jobs that they projected that they would create in order to claim the tax credit.
In the public hearing, who conducts that? Do we conduct that?
Yeah. We're going to run the public
hearing. We run the public
hearing.
So the way the public hearing works, we would put a notice out.
Mark, can you hear Mary?
Come on, come on up.
We would put a notice out 3 to 4 weeks from today. 3 to 4. Oh yeah, I could.
Yeah, go to the microphone. There you go.
Destiny, is he allowed to speak?
I get 30 seconds. So the way the next steps are, Joe identified them, but the next step will be 3 to 4 weeks. We'll hold a public hearing in the Bronx. Generally, there's 4 to 5 hours for public hearing, and then we come back to the directors if we need to to reaffirm the GPP, and then sometime later this fall we go before PACB. Those will be the next steps. And then Joe identified the other steps already.
Okay, great, thanks.
So then are we being asked to approve this based on that, or are we doing this and in spite of that?
No, based on that. In other words, our grants always have the same process, Rob.
Right.
Where we approve as a board, approve or not approve, the disbursement plan for a grant, which is always followed by a public hearing in the community affected and a PACB approval.
Okay.
They always those two conditions are, I think, in most cases built into the grants, right, Susan?
Right, and you may recall, it typically only happens once or twice a year when we have public comment that's not in support of a project. And in those cases, we take the comment, we review them with our legal department to look at each separate issue and to provide a response to that. And then we provide that back to you so that you can consider it again before we actually enter into any contract to just the response. I think we had one maybe 2 months ago for a project in Rochester.
Right. We came.
Right. The public hearing, the concerns were, we had one in Syracuse at Radisson, remember, as well, up and outside of Syracuse, I should say, where we held the hearing. There were comments that raised questions that required us to reconsider the project as a board and reaffirm our prior vote or not reaffirm. In that case, I think we moved to reaffirm. But that gives us, and the public should know that gives us, as directors, the obligation to consider what is said at the public hearings. And so that will, as Marion has pointed out, that will take place in a few weeks.
And I would also point out that similar to the meeting today, the public hearing is not, it's not really an interaction period. It's really a time for the public to provide comment.
Public comment.
Right. That the ESD doesn't respond to at the meeting, but responds to later with the written response.
Right.
Very good. Any other questions from directors? Thank you very much. If not, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of this item, please.
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any opposition or any abstentions? Hearing no opposition and no abstention, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you again for everyone who's joined us. You're free to stay, but if you are not interested in the rest of our items, we will not take any offense. And we'll continue in a moment after we clear the room with the rest of the items on today's agenda. Thank you.
I lost the call.
Hello? Hello? Did we lose our call?
I can hear you, Jim. I don't know if they can hear us.
Okay.
They're just taking a break right now.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on a break. If they come to us, no, they come to the I had one time.
For those of you who are connected remotely to our meeting this morning, again, our thanks for your patience.
Did we approve? We approved the mission statement, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, Benson presented that absolutely perfectly. The little footnote, in case you're wondering about timing, is that we were asked by the governor's office to be part of an exercise to redo, be part of the remaking of the governor's website. This is off the record, Mark. Just some background. And we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity, but they gave us a character limitation. And they said, well, give us your ESD, Charles knows this problem, give us your ESD mission statement, and it wouldn't fit because it's old.
Right.
So we said, well, let's rewrite it. This was Jasmine in our communications department. Let's rewrite it so it would fit. And Jasmine could submit the homework on time so we could promote this agency on the governor's own homepage. To do that, we had to shorten and make it more concise, something we wanted to do anyway. But, of course, now we'll have to go through the approval process. Benson will test this new legal acumen, get this approved by the authority's budget office, whoever's other state agency has to sign off on it. But that's a little bit why the timing. It's a great opportunity to get it right and then promote it more and more. Also, we're making a lot more marketing materials now, and that old clunker, if you will.
Well, this thing
that old clunker is pretty hard to put on a bumper sticker.
Talking about 1968.
Oh, yeah. I know.
That's great.
Well, anyway, so that's why we did that. Thank you. Back on the record, Mark. I just, want to share that little tidbit with my colleagues. Okay. I'll put the microphone back on, and let's get restarted. Edwin Lee is up next, and he's going to present a brief summary of the project items on our agenda this morning. After he provides that summary, we'll call on the individual regional directors around our state or their representatives to present the project items from their respective regions. Edwin, good morning.
Good morning. Today the directors will be requested to consider funding for 34 discretionary projects. You already heard about two of those, the $1 million MRF loan and the $9 million Urban Community Development Program grant. There are also 4 Economic Development Purposes Fund grants totaling $4.8 million, 1 Restore New York grant for $500,203, and 2 Buffalo Billion Initiative grants totaling $3,197,674. The 34 projects include 27 Regional Council Award projects to be funded as follows: 1 Economic Development Purposes Fund grant for $100,000, 1 Empire State Economic Development Fund grant for $268,000, 6 Regional Council Capital Fund grants totaling $8,625,000, and 19 Market New York grants totaling $3,204,801. These 34 projects take place across New York State, all 10 regions. We'll leverage over $195 million of additional investments, retain over 4,100 jobs, and create 976 jobs in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin, for that helpful summary. We're going to turn now to Christina Orsi, the director of our ESD office in Western New York, based in Buffalo. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning to the board members. Thank you. Today I am presenting a request for a grant up to $3.2 million to be used for a portion of machinery, equipment, and operating expenses for a unique workforce training and development program as part of our larger Buffalo Billion economic development plan. This grant would go to SUNY RF on behalf of Alfred State College to support the development of a new advanced manufacturing education program through a partnership with Alfred State College, one of our great SUNY technical schools, and Burgard High School at Buffalo Public Schools. This evolved out of the need of many of the Western New York manufacturers expressing concern that they do not believe that they have the current access to the talent pool of skilled tradespeople that they need to provide for their growth and to replace retirements in the future. In addition, we have an unemployment rate for minorities in the city of Buffalo at 19%. Currently, the high school graduation rate at Burgard High School is at 30%, with 80% of that student population living below the poverty line. So this program is both focused on ensuring that we have a pipeline of the career and technical skilled trades folks that we need to support our manufacturing-based growth, but also doing it in a way that it helps move people out of poverty into family-sustaining jobs. So this program will create a new advanced manufacturing educational program at Burgard High School. Essentially what it will do is provide incoming 9th grade students the opportunity to earn in 5 years both their 4-year high school diploma while also earning a 2-year associate's degree from Alfred State College in either automobile service technician, advanced manufacturing technology, or welding technology, all areas of high demand in our community. It also involves a unique partnership between Say Yes Buffalo, which was started in Syracuse and has now come to Buffalo, and that's National Foundation providing scholarship money to help offset the college tuition cost for the students in the Buffalo Public Schools. In Dream It, Do It, which is another program we've supported, which will provide internship opportunities for these students during their summer breaks in their junior and senior year to get them real hands-on experience. So our support will help offset the incremental cost of new machinery and equipment that they need to run this program at the Burgard High School, as well as course materials, consumables, additional faculty, Alfred State faculty, curriculum assistance, and other materials that they need to run the program over 6 years. We anticipate that there will be 60 students in each of our classes, so that at the end of this we will have a great pipeline of folks ready to step into skilled manufacturing jobs. Thank you for your consideration.
Christina, it's Kenneth. I just have a logistical question. If Alfred State is in Alfred with a Wellsville campus, but Burgard is downtown, how's it set up? Is the programming it's going to be at the high school campus? And how's it going to be staffed?
Yes, great question. The program will be all offered at Burgard, and Alfred has a project manager that will be based out of Burgard, and in addition, they will either have faculty from Alfred that'll teach at Burgard, or they will certify Buffalo Public School faculty to become faculty at Alfred and enable them to be able to teach the Alfred courses. But all of the coursework will be based on Alfred's curriculum.
And so these disciplines of advanced manufacturing, automobile maintenance, and welding are things that Alfred currently teaches in Wellsville?
Correct. Yes, they do. They currently have associate's degrees in all of those areas.
Very good. Other questions from other directors?
Yeah, I'm a little, I don't want to get into a capital appropriation budget like I do with my companies, but what do they mean by working capital? I see the machinery is $1.1 million. Excuse me, I see the machinery in $1 million. Well, working capital, what does that mean?
So
I know what it means for my businesses, but what does it mean for this?
Sure. So over 6 years, essentially what we're doing is we're providing monies for things like staff, so for the Alfred faculty to teach at Burgard. They need consumables that they have to buy each year to run the programs. They currently don't run a college level program there. We have to offset some of the costs of the college credits before the Say Yes scholarships kick in. We need to buy things like programs for enhanced reading and math. These students will actually go to will be required to go to summer school and stay for additional math and reading in order to get them to a level to be able to accomplish college level courses. So none of those things are currently offered in the current Buffalo Public Schools budget, so all of those incremental costs we're paying for.
Okay. So it's the software part.
Sort of like operating, almost operating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's people.
Exactly.
It's people. Right, okay. Good, thanks.
Mr. Cephas?
No question.
Well, if there are no further questions or comments from directors, I'd ask if there are any comments from the public. If not, I'll entertain a motion, please, for this action's approval. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. Christina, thank you very much. And Christina, just a footnote. As you know, we're considering working on some new initiatives in Western New York around mentoring that you're being very helpful with, and we have some in the pipeline, and a couple different programs. And I guess my point is that it would be great if we could connect the dots. If indeed we move forward and support some of these new Western New York mentoring initiatives, including an online system for the identification of mentoring positions in companies that's centralized, maybe we could really advance it with the students in this program, right? If we targeted those employers.
That would be
really
great.
good for these students as they're working towards their associate's degree to make some money, but also have the experience of putting their skills to work with Western New York businesses. And like I say, since we are advancing these other programs in the next few weeks and months, it'd be great to connect them.
Great, I welcome that.
Thank you, Christina. Very good. We're going to go all the way across to Plattsburgh, to the home of our North Country Regional Office, and Roseanne Murphy, who this morning is going to present the Trudeau Institute Working Capital Grant for your consideration. Good morning, Roseanne.
Good morning. I'm being asked to consider a grant of up to $3,600,000 to Trudeau Institute that would be used to cover a portion of the operating expenses at Trudeau to support the Trudeau Institute Clarkson University initiative. The initiative is a multi-year plan that has several key objectives. One is to join the strength of Trudeau's strengths of immunology, Clarkson's strengths in engineering science to become a leader in the emerging field of immunoengineering, to advance new technologies and products to improve the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of immune-related diseases. And as a part of this critical effort, the partners are also focusing on educating and training a new generation of scientists in the emerging field of immune engineering and the development of new engineering-based approaches to better understand and improve the human health. This is a multi-year project, and this is Trudeau's second request under the initiative. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer them for you.
Roseanne, thank you very much. Director should be reminded, I think Roseanne mentioned this, but that this is part of a larger commitment the governor announced around this state support for this Trudeau-Clarkson partnership. And we've made, as the board materials reflect, several payments prior to this. This is just one of our new payments to help stabilize things there. We have a special guest with us, in addition to Roseanne, Adam Spence, who has other duties sitting over here to our right. But Adam has been working with Leslie Watley in the marketing of Startup New York, but for a variety of reasons was kind enough to take on a special assignment for me, which was to work with Roseanne, Trudeau, and Clarkson on really accelerating this partnership and assuring that our state investment bears fruit the way we want it to. Adam, any comments you'd add to what's going on here?
Not a lot to add. I think Roseanne was clear. This is an important infusion to really give the management team of both, Clarkson and Trudeau time to, I think, really reevaluate the business model and dig deep and make sure they're doing it right. So, I think in our view, this is important support to really get this partnership to the next level and increase the likelihood of success, which will, really, as we've said, create a nucleus for bioscience really in our country.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions from directors on this item? Any questions from the public or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion for its approval, please.
Move it.
Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? If not, hearing none, the motion carries. Roseanne and Adam, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
And onward and upward, as Gary Douglas says, with Trudeau. Next, we're going to go down to our Mid-Hudson region, Mr. Dyson, your neck of the woods, and check in with Monique Legendre, who has got the Xylem Capital Grant item for our consideration this morning. Good morning, Monique.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you. I'm here to present Xylem Incorporated. It's a $1 million capital grant. It's a business expansion project which involves the construction, renovation, and purchase of machinery and equipment for a new headquarters facility in Rybrook in Westchester County. Xylem is a leading global water technology company. Their customer base includes public utility, residential, construction, building services, agriculture, and industrial, allowing their customers to transport, treat, test, and efficiently use water. ESD's incentive helped to keep Xylem in New York State as it had considered Connecticut and other Northeast locations. Its lease expired, so it was actively looking for alternative locations in New York State, and ESD was able to offer them a capital grant and Excelsior tax credits investment track. The total project cost for this project is $11,600,000. ESD's incentive proposal requires that Xylem maintain a baseline employment of 106 jobs, create 15 net new jobs, of which 7 net new jobs have already been created to date. So ESD's incentive proposal offers Xylem, as I said, $1 million in a capital grant, Excelsior jobs investment track of $1,350,000, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Monique, thank you. Questions from directors on this grant to Xylem? We're back now in projects that have more normal ratios, as we can see, state support to company equity and company investment. Again, direct state support to a company. Rob, anything?
No, this is great.
Good. Then
Interesting company.
I'll see if there are any. It is an interesting company. Any questions, comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll ask please for a motion for its approval.
Move.
Second. Mark, you got that? This guy's jumping all over you.
We're good.
All in favor?
Teamwork.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Monique, thank you very much. And regards to Amy and to all of our colleagues in your Mid-Hudson regional office.
I will let everyone know.
Edwin is going to do the... Thank you. Edwin is going to present the Restore New York consent calendar for our consideration. Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you. The directors are requested to approve a $500,203 Restore New York grant to the city of North Tonawanda. The city will apply these funds for work performed on 2 buildings. The first building is the 9,600 square foot city incinerator that has been vacant since the 1960s. Asbestos is being abated from the building, and the building will be demolished. A local auto repair business plans to move to the cleared site. The second building, known as the Teddy Bear Building, is a 10,000 square foot structure that was built in 1893 and has been vacant since the early 2000s. This building is being renovated as a mixed-use structure that will include a restaurant on the first floor and commercial space on the second and third floors. These projects are expected to be completed in October, and total project costs are approximately $890,000. Thank you.
Edwin, thank you. Now, Rob, I know you were interested in the Teddy Bear Building.
How can anybody
Any
be
questions?
against a Teddy Bear building?
We have, Edwin is in a helpful way. We've got some good photographs of the city incinerator before it was incinerated and after, apparently. And, helpfully, your teddy bear building, Rob.
I see it.
Under, prior, before and during. Very good. Any questions or comments on these restored items? Any questions from the public on these items? Hearing no questions, I'll ask please for a motion for their approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Join me, fellows.
Derek in?
Derek's
all right, good.
in.
There we go.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Edwin, thank you. Now we'll move ahead, again with Edwin's assistance, to the August discretionary project consent calendar. Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you. The first project on the consent calendar, the directors are requested to approve a $100,000 working capital grant to Career Arc Group LLC, doing business at internships.com. With this grant, a pilot program will be established to support the development of an online internship search and placement process at 7 SUNY campuses in Western New York.
Now, how did I know? How could that be that I would never?
The site will give more than 62,000 students access to the internship platform, will have smartphone applications, and will also be linked to social media sites. This pilot program is expected to be operational in October 2014. Total project costs are approximately $137,000. And for the second project, the directors are requested to approve a $100,000 grant to the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone Development Corporation. This grant will be used for a portion of the cost to establish a small business recovery loan fund to assist local businesses affected by a gas explosion that occurred in March 2014. Approximately 60 businesses located within a specific area affected in East Harlem will be assisted with these funds. Thank you.
Edwin, thank you. And directors, again, note that, well, let's just credit where credit is due. Marion Phillips has done a lot of the legwork to put this program, the administrative work, to put this program together to provide support to businesses that were affected by the tragic gas explosion in East Harlem. And he's done that with our colleagues at HCDC, the Harlem Community Development Corporation, led by Curtis Archer. So that's ESD, and then our local affiliate on 125th Street, working with the affected merchants and the City of New York and local officials to put this program together and provide that assistance. So I just want to give credit to our colleagues. Thank you, Evan, for presenting that. Any questions from directors on these two discretionary projects items?
No. So we're approving both of them, right?
Yes, we're going to do them together.
Yeah, right.
Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll ask please for a motion for their approval. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Very good. Edwin, thank you. Those are both approved, and our colleagues can move forward both with the new internship program and the aid to businesses in East Harlem. Next, we're going to go to our office in Binghamton, covering our southern tier region, and check in with Robin Alpa, who is going to present the next two items on our agenda. We're going to vote after each item is presented. So, Robin, why don't you start with the Southern Tier High-Tech Incubator item, please?
Yes, good morning, everyone. The directors are being requested to approve a $7 million grant to the Southern Tier High Technology Incubator to be used for a portion of the cost of a $13 million Phase 1 incubator design and construction costs in downtown Binghamton. Grantee will construct a 24,000 square foot building that will support up to 12 new companies and include specialized wet and dry laboratories, one high bay lab, as well as office and collaboration space. The labs will be outfitted with infrastructure to support companies doing research, development, light manufacturing in areas such as energy, electronics, packaging, and health. This facility is being built in a distressed area of downtown Binghamton and will be developed in partnership with private industry and Broome County. The incubator, through Binghamton University, came to Empire State Development for assistance in securing funds to establish this high-tech incubator in a distressed part of Binghamton through the Round 2 CFA process and was deemed a priority project by the Council. The project is aligned with the regional plan and defines strategies based on the opportunity to create jobs through industry, university collaboration, and high-tech infrastructure. Thank you.
Robin, it's Kenneth. Good morning, and thanks for presenting this. I know you worked on this very hard. I just, sort of an informal question, but this must be one of the largest grants in your regional council's priority projects, is it not?
It absolutely is, but tremendously needed for this part of downtown Binghamton.
Absolutely. Know the area well, and I think there's just this can really connect the dots with, you think about what's going on at the Binghamton University startup facility that Leslie and Adam have been working on. A lot of things happening, and downtown Binghamton is just one of our upstate cities that could use more activity, more, things that come out of incubators, startups and students and research. So it's very exciting. But I was struck by the dollar amount because, again, for your council, that's on, right, Susan? I think that's on the higher end of the grant scale.
That may be the highest end of the grant scale for the southern tier.
I think so. But again, for a very good project with $6 million of investments from others, along with ours. So it's sort of a 55-45 match, if you will. Very good. Questions from directors for Robin on this incubator in downtown Binghamton.
Who runs this? Who's running it?
A 501c3 that was set up through Binghamton University and the Southern Tier High Technology Incubator, Inc. Board
So
of
it's
Directors
underneath
and an executive director.
It's underneath the university then?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks.
So Robin, will the director and deputy director be university employees?
I think they're going to be direct employees of the 501c3. They are coming from the university.
But in effect, the entity will be. I guess to Rob's question, who's in charge here?
Right. Right.
The IDA, obviously, clearly not us. Although the regional council made this a priority, they don't run it.
Right.
Is it really going to be the staff that are in this building once it's up and running are reporting to whom?
Ultimately, to the executive director of this nonprofit. Like I said, it's under the umbrella, the auspices of Binghamton University.
Okay, that's great.
But
so the executive director of the nonprofit will report to the university, some division of the university.
Yes, I believe that's how it's set up.
Yeah, or they'll have a majority of the board seats.
Right.
Well, is that true or what?
I believe that is the case. Yes.
Good.
Because these things are this is a lot of money. But the thing is that these incubators they're hard to run, and you're dealing with a diverse bunch of people that are using the facilities here that we're creating. And really, you're kind of a landlord, really.
Yes.
And I think in the future when we see something like this, we ought to see an org chart to find out how it all fits in. Because I have no problem with the tax-free status and all that, or even the grant. It's just to make sure that with the grant that it's well run. The biggest problem that we're seeing kind of in my foundation experience is that, everybody, the projects look great, but they have to be run right. And so the day-to-day is as important, in fact, maybe in many cases a lot more important than the concept. So I think we've got to pay attention to that. It's a big
Absolutely,
number.
and just so that you know, Alan Ray, who heads up the Alfred and the Corning Ceramics Corridor area, that incubator, he's working very closely with Binghamton University, and he has run a successful ceramics corridor operation for many years. So he is intimately involved with that aspect.
That's fine, but it's kind of like who runs it day to day, and they got to make sure that they're tied in and that there's some accountability to it. That's all.
Very good. Well, I'm wondering if it's going to be Sheila Doyle. What does Sheila Doyle do, Robin?
Foundation, and she is the point person and the executive director.
Okay. Well, down the road, I think to Mr. Dyson's questions, a year hence or something, we might want to get a report from you and or Sheila.
Yeah, good idea.
With an org chart, and we'll check in.
Let's do that.
There's a good chance this will be coming back to the board for more funding down the road as it, right now they're just getting the building done. So
Right.
as it really ramps up and gets operational, and then
We'll
you've
have
got
another
machinery
chance.
and equipment,
Yeah.
I think we'll see more about
And
the structure. And
I get where we're going with the initial grant. That's not the issue. My issue is, okay, you got the building, you got all of the infrastructure. It's the software being the management of the entity, and the accountability of the management to the concept. That's all. So I'm just, I think a year would be great.
Happy to do
Rob,
that.
Thank you, Rob, and that would be helpful. And I suspect, again, especially if it's continues to be a priority of the Southern Tier Regional Council, we will hear about this again. But let me ask Mehul to consider an exercise we can talk about after the meeting. Mehul, we, over the years, have funded a number of incubators, and we support even more through NISTAR, our tech division. And it would be interesting to look at the various governance models. Some are direct affiliates of sponsoring universities. Some are more freestanding. Some are run by economic development organizations with good intentions. There are different models for governance and different structures. Why don't we ask Matt Watson or some colleague to do an analysis of all of them and then look at what the best practices are?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because a lot of different constructs come our way. And I think to Rob's point, we may be able to inject capital, but we want to make sure that capital is going to be effectively deployed in the with good day-to-day operations. So let's do a little report, Mehul, if we can.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's
helpful to see that.
Right, because there's a lot of different ways to do it.
I think that's really a good idea, because these incubators, it's just by definition, there's not it's not clear as to what makes an incubator successful and not. But it is clear that the money has been expended, and we should kind of know either why it didn't work out, or what we can do to assist to make sure that it works out. So I think that's, and how it's organized, and who's accountable for what and to whom, to me is important.
And another question, Mehul, is what is success? We've seen across the state a number of incubators. They succeed at a certain level, and they are collecting rent. Rob's right, they've got to. But then the companies don't move out, and because they got a good deal, because they got a subsidized rent in most cases. And when the companies don't do that, they're not incubating. It's kind of like the chick is never getting out of the, it's never getting out of the egg. They're not incubating, and so you can't bring in new companies because there's no vacant space. I got one in mind in Long Island, where you got stable companies in there, and they like the deal. Thank you very much. So they're not leaving. So they may have been incubated, but they're not moving out. And then you're not getting turnover, which is the goal of the thing, to bring in new companies. That's one issue.
Right.
And another just is the finances. There are very few that don't require ongoing operating subsidies because these startup companies don't pay a market rent, yet the landlord has to pay the electric bill and the real estate taxes and so on. So let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look to address our director's questions. Robin, thank you for provoking a stimulating discussion on that project. Let me ask at this point, I'll assume there are no further comments or questions from board members, so I'll ask for comments from the public on the item. Hearing none, I'll turn over to our directors a request that for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Yes, aye, yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Robin, thank you very much. That grant is approved by your ESD board. Why don't you walk us through number 2, the Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena project.
Thank you. Next project, the directors are being requested to approve a $500,000 grant to Broome County government for a portion of the cost of construction, renovation, infrastructure, and acquisition of machinery and equipment for the Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena in downtown Binghamton. This $2.5 million arena improvement project started in April of 2013 and included new seating, session upgrades, marquee upgrades, new lighting, and the purchase of 2 Zambonis for ice maintenance. This project is now completed and will attract a growing number of growing demand for tourism activities in the region, accommodate more patrons and sports enthusiasts, generate more revenue for the operation. Grantee had identified financial constraints to carry out the upgrades. 150,000 square foot facility that provides an operations base for sports and entertainment and serves as an important anchor for tourism activity in the region. The county applied through its Round 2 CFA grant, and this project was deemed a priority project by our council. The project is aligned with the regional plan and defines strategy based on economic development through tourism. Thank you.
Robin, thank you very much. And thank you also for the helpful photograph that's in our board materials this morning. Mr. Dyson commented on it. What he said somewhat under his breath, I would ask you to take to heart, which is there would appear to be ample real estate on the new scoreboard for I Love New York advertising. And why not connect the dots, as it were, and see if we can't, from time to time, working with our marketing people, get some good I Love New York advertising. Since so many Pennsylvanians attend events at this arena, this is, of course, just a few miles from the northern Pennsylvania border. Well, stick it to the Pennsylvanians. The next hockey game.
I think that's absolutely right.
What was your idea, Mr. Dyson?
That's a great idea. I notice that there's no exclusivity in the beverage end, but
would appear to be no Pepsi products in that arena. And that's a shame, since they, of course, are a company we provide great support to in Purchase, New York. But we'll talk about that with the arena operator at another date.
Good idea.
Very good. Well done, Robin. Well presented. Thank you very much. Let me ask if there are any comments from the public on this item.
No.
Hearing none, I'll turn to our directors for a motion, please, for its approval.
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Robin, thank you very much for presenting both of these items. Before we move ahead, I do want to note, Mark, for the record, that I'd like to express a word of heartfelt thanks to Robin Alpaugh, who for the, well, more than a year now, I can't count the 14, 16 months it's been, but for more than a year has served as our acting director of our Southern Tier Regional Office, which has unfortunately had, for a variety of reasons, quite limited staffing, and a Herculean, I don't pronounce that right, but you know what I'm trying to say, a tremendous workload, with a very busy and active regional council, a lot of exciting things happening, and again, with a small staff led for more than a year now, since Kevin McLaughlin left to work for Broome County IDA, led by Robin. And Robin, thank you so much for all your great work. The good news here, and a great relief, I'm sure, to Robin, is that we were able to identify a new director of that office, Bonnie Palmer, who was a longtime ESD veteran working in our Syracuse office, who's agreed to relocate her family to Binghamton and to take over the leadership of that office and work closely, obviously, with Robin and Joe and the colleagues there. But before we even start to think about welcoming Bonnie, I really want to express my thanks, our thanks from the directors and your colleagues here, Robin, for your great work over what has been a tough period with tremendous demands that you have met very successfully. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that, Kenneth. Thank you very much.
Next item takes us to Syracuse, in fact, to Jim Fail. And Jim is in the birthing tent at State Fair in Salt Bay. Actually, he and I were there just the other day. It's a whole other story. We'll tell you later on. Jim Fail, director of our Central New York Regional Office in Syracuse.
Morning, Kenneth and Director.
Hospital Renovation Regional. Good morning, Jim. Tell us about Krause Hospital.
All right. You're being asked to approve a $575,000 grant on a $10.5 million project that will lead to the renovation and enhancement of the Krause Hospital Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. This includes a new roof, building sterile procedure rooms, as well as isolation rooms. Krause Hospital is a regional hospital serving 16 counties throughout the region. This was a Round 2 CFA priority project for the Regional Council. This project will create 15 new jobs. The first phase was completed in March of this year, and which was the roof part of the project, and the sterile rooms and the isolation rooms are being constructed right now and should be completed over the next couple of months. Is there any questions that I can answer for from the board?
Is this the only NICU in Syracuse? Or the major one?
No. I mean, we have Upstate Medical Center, which has the Golisano children's
hospital,
right?
Wing, and I believe St. Joseph's has one as well.
Mr. Cephas has whispered to me that he thinks a hospital with over 500 beds should have a roof, in fact. Jim, thank you for this. I think, to your question, Rob, this cluster of really first-rate healthcare facilities up on the hill, as it were, in Syracuse, which includes a number of
It's a big hospital.
Very big. No, you know, because all the boards you serve on.
Yeah, it's a big hospital.
Everything you're doing in Dutchess County, but it's regional, and this is really serves a very broad Central New York geographic region. It's a healthcare hub, and thank you again, Jim, for presenting it. Any questions from directors on this?
No.
Any questions or comments from the public on the item? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for its approval, please.
I move it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. Any opposed? You directors who, as you've read through the board materials, may recall this project, while presented by Jim, the actual originator on the incentive package for Cross Hospital was none other than Bonnie Palmer. So this would be one of her last projects in her role doing projects in Central New York as she transitions now, as I just mentioned, into the new leadership role in Binghamton. A transition she began, by the way, 3 days ago on Monday. But kudos to Bonnie on this one, one of the last. Now we'll see her projects coming out of Southern Tier in the future. The next item, sorry, while I turn my page,
Louville.
Is in Louville, and no, I'm sorry. We're going to do the Lewis County General Dialysis Center, which is a North Country project with Roseanne. Roseanne, are you coming back on the line? Are you there?
I am.
Thank you. And you had, sorry, that is in Louville, you're right. Same project. Roseanne, would you present this Lewis County General Dialysis in Louville project, please?
I will. Thank you. The directors are being asked to consider a grant of up to $300,000 to the Lewis County General Hospital to be used for a portion of the construction expenses for a regional dialysis center to be located at the hospital. The funding is will result in the construction of a 7,500 square foot addition to the medical arts building, and it will. The project has been completed, so which is actually very good news for us. This was a round 2 CFA award, and it's supporting a very critical area for our region in being able to provide regional and sound medical services in just a very dispersed, huge region in the state of New York. So this is a real challenge. Our regional council is acknowledging it, and we're very delighted to see this project finished. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
My comment, Roseanne, is I thank you for taking the photographs last week, and I see in the first photograph the snow is finally starting to melt.
Well, some places.
Only August. No, the photographs are very helpful, as always.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, my Elizabeth, my daughter-in-law, her father is an employee of this hospital. Does that exclude me from voting on it?
Say that again, your?
My daughter-in-law's father. My son's wife, the mother of my 3 grandchildren. Her father is an employee there.
No, should not, as long as your son is not going to materially benefit from,
Right,
not going to
okay,
directly
good,
benefit
thank
from your vote.
Nor does he plan to get any medical care there.
He doesn't need dialysis.
No one plans to go to the hospital. Thank you for raising the issue. It's always good to be sensitive to potential conflicts. And thank you, Liz, for resolving that. Well, any other questions from directors on this proposal of support the dialysis center now built in Louville? Lewis County. If not, any questions, please, or comments from the public? Hearing none of those, I'll ask for a motion for its approval.
Move.
Yeah, second.
All in favor? Aye. By the way, the photographs really are good because they show construction in various stages. So there's, in terms of
photos.
picture worth a thousand words, we know as directors where the money's going, where it's been already, frankly, right? Because we're reimbursing for work completed. Very good. Actually, we just voted on that, right? All right, good. Mark, we good? We got that one? All right. A lot of projects today. We're going to go back to Buffalo, where I was just yesterday, to check in once again with Christina, who is going to present a second Western New York item for us today, which relates to the construction of a new water tank for the town of Ellicottville in Cattaraugus County. Christina, please present this project.
Great, thank you, Kenneth. The ESD directors are requested to approve a $268,000 Empire State Economic Development Capital Grant to the town of Ellicottville, which is located in Cattaraugus County, for a new infrastructure. Ellicottville is a major tourist destination with two premier ski centers, Holiday Valley and Hollymont, and also close to New York's largest state park, Allegheny State Park. So it has really become a year-round destination, and certainly one of our largest tourist draws. It's interesting to know that most of the skiers that go there are from out of state, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Ontario. So it really is bringing in outside money and a key part of our overall regional economy. This $1.4 million project involves construction of a secondary $350,000 gallon water tank and related water transmission works to install new pipes to extend capacity of water service along the Route 219. This is critical infrastructure investment to support the growth of the town and village of Ellicottville that they have been experiencing, again, largely driven by the growth of the tourism economy. Holiday Valley in the last few years added several new hotels and amenities and is working towards becoming a more year-round destination. And they have been really strained in their water infrastructure capacity to meet the demand during the peak tourism season. This was a priority of the Regional Economic Development Council because it ties directly into our tourism development growth. Thank you.
Christina, thank you very much. Directors may recall that, and Susan Schaefer can help us, this is hardly the first, water or sewage infrastructure project we've seen from regional councils, because in many communities, especially those that are growing, like Ellicottville, and it's a good thing, the infrastructure is antiquated, and it's without replacing, putting new water systems in like this. North Country, Long Island, we've seen a number of these. New economic development is simply not going to occur. So very good to see, and something new for us, and really a result of the regional council's initiative. Any questions from directors on this project, this grant to the town of Ellicottville?
Water is pretty important. You can't do much without water. Just ask anybody out in the Napa Valley.
True. Any other questions or comments from directors? Any comments from the public on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask, please, for a motion for its approval. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries and the grant's approved. Thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you.
And I hope that they have another banner ski season with lots of snowfall as they did last year. And Holiday Valley was just rocking. So,
yep.
All good. All right. Next, we're going to check in with Ed Mazinski. Ed is...
Good morning.
Good morning, Ed. Ed works in our office in Rochester covering our Finger Lakes region, and he's got the Iyer Building Regional Council Awards item for our consideration. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning to the directors. The directors are requested to approve a $200,000 capital grant to the town village of East Rochester for a downtown revitalization project. The project involves renovation of a historic building for consolidated municipal offices with some space leased for mixed use. Total project cost is $9 million. ESD's assistance filled the financing gap to allow the project to proceed on a timely basis. The municipality of East Rochester has already relocated its employees, including police, court, and library. The project results in an enhanced central business district. Thank you very much.
Ed, thank you. Any questions or comments from directors on this project? Very good. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll ask please for a motion for the item's approval.
Move.
Thank you. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries, and the grant for this project is approved. Ed, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation this morning. Ed?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ed. And please give our regards to Vinny and the rest of the Finger Lakes team.
I will do. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Well, now we're going to do something a little different. Well, actually, no. We're going to go to back to Edwin. A lot of action with Edwin Lee today.
Yes.
And to present the Regional Council Board's consent calendar. And then we're going to do something.
There are two projects on the Regional Council consent calendar this month. The first project, directors are requested to approve a $50,000 grant to the Village of Frankfurt for a facade improvement program. The village will provide $5,000 grant to 10 local businesses for facade improvements that will be based on a unifying design concept to capture the character of the community and make the area more inviting to visitors, shoppers, and investors. The total project costs are approximately $62,000, and the project is expected to be completed in April 2015. And for the second project, the directors are requested to approve a $100,000 grant to the Westchester Community College Foundation, Inc. In keeping with the Mid-Hudson Economic Development Council's opportunity agenda, this project will offer regional employment opportunities by providing residents collaborative education and training to participate in New York's workforce. Funds will support the continuation of Westchester Community College's Flexible, Innovative Training and Technical Assistance to Grow New York program, which responds and supports the workforce development needs in the community. Total project costs are $110,000, and the project is expected to be completed in June 2015. Thank you.
Edwin, thank you for presenting both of those projects on our Regional Council consent calendar. Do directors have any questions for Edwin on either one of them? The Frankfurt project or the Westchester Community College project?
Nope.
I'll ask then if there are any comments from the public on these items. Hearing none, I'll ask please for a motion for their approval.
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Edwin, thank you very much. Motion carries, and do share our congratulations with our colleagues who have done all the work to bring those projects forward. Now, this is the sort of new thing I was referring to a moment ago. We're going to ask Kelly Baccherzo to present the Market New York consent calendar items for our consideration. There are quite a number of these. Kelly's going to walk us through it, and this is a very important part of our tourism marketing efforts all around the state. Kelly, good morning. How are you?
Hello, and good morning to you, Kenneth, and to the directors. I'm calling in from Albany today on behalf of Empire State Development's Division of Tourism to seek approval from the directors for 19 working capital Market New York projects from round 3, totaling a little over $3.2 million, $3,204,801. Just a little bit of background. Round 3 of the Regional Council Consolidated Funding application included up to $10 million for Market New York. This is a program that supports regionally themed New York-focused projects. the goal of the Market New York Grant Program is to help bolster tourism growth by promoting tourism destinations, attractions, and special events. Additionally, Market New York also supports capital grant funding for tourism facilities in New York. The Market New York program and each funded proposal will work to support the Regional Council long-term strategic plans for economic growth in these regions, as well as to attract visitors to New York State. The 19 projects that we're presenting to the board today, as mentioned, are all working capital projects. And there are a variety of different projects. I don't know if you wanted me to go through them all or maybe just highlight a few of them. These are, so far from the past round, we've seen are very successful and are great for leveraging the not only the brand but tourism throughout the state through these programs.
Kelly, it's Kenneth. First let me apologize for butchering your last name, which I think is closer to Bacadisa than whatever I said. But
That's correct.
I know you as Kelly, and I never say your last name in public. So I apologize. But I wanted to ask you, if there are 19 and there are 10 regions, what's the distribution? Is there how are they distributed across the regions? Do regions compete? Is it every program for itself? How do we end up with a good distribution across all the regions for these grants?
Well, there's actually a total of 50 grants for the total of the $10 million for that round. I believe at last month's meeting you approved 13 working capital projects, and then there's 19 this month, and then the remainder should be the capital projects. And how we distribute it is a competition, so they're all individually scored. But we do look to ensure that we have a good distribution across the state, so that tourism is helped out through each of the regions as best as we're able to. But it is a competition, so there's scoring involved, and each project is individually scored with the information and applications they submit through the CFA.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I'd like to remind directors and everyone that even projects like these, which are, as Kelly said, kind of marketing dollars and working capital or operating support. Each one of these 19 projects has an MWBE participation goal. Some of them are smaller dollar amounts. Achieving it's going to be very important to. Obviously, those goals have been set. They will be monitored. But just as an example of how thorough we are, and frankly what the law requires, important to note that even if we think of MWE goals around construction projects and around capital grants, that even with these working capital grants for things like tourism marketing, very important to have MWB goals. Each project does have a goal, and that's. I just wanted to circle that for everybody's attention. All right. Any other questions or comments for Kelly?
Kelly, how many applications were there?
From round 3, we had a total of 156 applications that were finalized and eligible. So we awarded 50 grants out of 156 total eligible applications.
When you see that many grants, and it all comes to you guys? It all is centered in your area?
In tourism, yeah. The Market New York program is specifically
That's what I mean. Yeah,
for tourism.
The tourism area. Is there?
Yes.
Do you take the opportunity to say, hey, look, you've got 5 people in Chemung County, you're all applying for this thing. Why don't you guys all get together and start to coordinate something so that we can give you one good grant rather than a lot of little ones? Do you guys do that?
It actually is the focus of the program. They're regionally focused, so the way that the scoring is set up, you get more points for programs or projects that are regionally based. So that is the whole goal of the project for the overall Market New York program, is for, like you said, these smaller counties or these even cities to start working together, not only on a regional basis but also with their RADCs as well. So that's actually what we we give them more points for creating regional programs.
And everybody knows that?
They know that, yes. It isn't always the case that the
They may
projects
not like
are.
it, but they know it.
Yes, exactly. They're aware of it. We publicly put out what exactly the scoring criteria is, but occasionally, we do get tourism projects that might not be as regionally based as we would like, but we see them as, tourism opportunities that we really want to support. Through that, that competition, they score well. So for the most part, our programs the projects specifically are regional based, but occasionally we do have some that are not always total region based. But we look for them to support the Regional Economic Development Council strategic tourism plan. So at least in that level, they need to show us and illustrate how it is supporting that regional tourism for that region.
Do you ever say that people are applying for too little money?
Yes, there was one project which I can't comment too much on because it's for our next round that I said, boy, I wish they would have applied for more money because this was the most amazing tourism project I've ever seen come across my desk.
And in light of that, when you see somebody coming in with an innovative single project, have you thought about saying, hey, this is so good, let's propagate it throughout the state?
I don't know. It was more of a...
And if not, why not?
I think this one particular project I'm thinking of, they're more regionally specific, so it's something that only that one region has, like a unique attraction or a unique event that I don't know that it could be duplicated somewhere else. It's kind of like Niagara Falls. You can't duplicate Niagara Falls. So the one particular attraction I'm thinking of is something that is so unique that I don't see how it could be duplicated anywhere else.
But Kelly, I'm just thinking of something based on Rob's question, which we might want to consider, and we could speak to Gavin Landry about, which is, perhaps in the winter when when tourism stuff is a little quieter, or at least I have the perhaps misperception that it's quieter. But that, ESD could sponsor a workshop. Conference sounds like a big word, but we could, when you're handing out $10 million to these groups across the state, they should show up, right? So we could get people in a room to review kind of best practices and just share, since everyone's doing different stuff. There's some similarities, obviously. But we could do something, Rob, to have the best practices, the novel ideas, sort of the innovation in tourism marketing rise to the top and share that across all of these tourism regions and with their regional councils. I don't mean a governor's summit, that's something he would convene, but I mean more our tourism division, bringing everybody together to share best practices.
It just strikes me that if you take a look at every county in this state has a somebody that's in charge of tourism.
Yep.
I don't know how it's organized in each county. I know how it is in Dutchess County. And it just strikes me that when we're handing out the kind of funding that really boosts it, the greater kind of regionalization of the, to me, would lead to more bang for the tourism promotion buck. And it just strikes me that we've got because of the funding that we have available, that all of these people are applying for, that gives us a little bit of power to be able to say to these guys, hey, look, two neighboring counties, why don't you guys get together and let's work on, let's be a little more active in trying to do something between two counties, whether however they're connected, to try to get it. You take the Finger Lakes region. They're doing this in the Napa region of California, where all the vineyards are starting to get smart to the idea that, look, the more people that come through the region, as opposed to my specific vineyard, it's good for everybody. And it just strikes me that we ought to try to. I'm not pointing out I'm using that as an example, but it just strikes me that we should be a little bit more. I won't say controlling, but maybe a little bit more helpful in convincing people in neighboring counties to not be so balkanized. That, you know, your county is important, but the two counties around you also are, and maybe you ought to try to work something out. For instance, the snowmobiling that takes place is up in Lewis County is a major winter industry, but they ride into other they ride or pilot or whatever they call it with snowmobiles into other counties. Just strikes me that, you know, the effort to promote that should be assisted by some kind of regional effort that I think only we can coordinate. That's just my thinking.
I think it's a helpful comment, Rob, and again, Mehul and I and Gavin and Kelly and others can explore this idea of remember that two important things we should take note of that are happening here with these grants that Kelly's put forward for our consideration is two things that represent a very significant shift in the history of funding tourism in the state. Both of these changes are priorities for the governor. One was just the idea that the county organizations and the local, we call them TPAs, tourism promotional agencies, that they had to check in and coordinate with the regional councils. That had never happened before. It was basically everybody fighting for the dollars to do their own specific thing. So number one, the governor wanted us to get them to work in much closer coordination with the regional councils, and obviously this does that because the $10 million was allocated to the CFA process. And the second is your point, which is greater regional collaboration. And you see in some of these, if you look at the North Country, the Wildlife Conservation Society is organizing this Bike the Adirondacks thing next summer. It's going to go through 4 or 5 counties in the North Country, my guess. So that you could do Long Island initiatives in Nassau and Suffolk together. So both of those are priorities for the governor in terms of how we change what was once kind of one-off, you fight for your grant, I'll fight for mine, and no coordination. And no coordination with the larger economic vision of the region.
Exactly.
So we've made a lot of progress there. Kelly, thank you for presenting this. Any other questions or comments from directors on these grants? We're not going to vote each grant on each grant individually. Rather, we'll look. The motion will approve the package. Derek, any questions?
No, good.
Any questions or comments from the public on this item as it's been presented to us this morning by Kelly? Hearing none, I'll ask please for a motion for its approval.
Move.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Well, the motion then carries, and all 19 of these grants are therefore approved. Kelly, thank you very much. We go through this item relatively quickly and should pause to recognize the tremendous amount of work each one of these grants requires in the judging process, the application process, the judging process, and then by our ESD staff in setting things like MWBE goals, monitoring progress over time, and in our finance department ultimately sending somebody a check. Lots of work behind the scenes for which we're grateful. We're going to go to Glendon. Hello, Glenn.
Good morning, sir. How are
How
you?
are you? Quiet down on your side of the table today, sitting next to Ms. Schaefer. Glenn McCleary is going to present non-discretionary projects consent calendar for our consideration. Good morning, Glenn.
Thank you, Kenny, and directors. We have 3 non-discretionary projects this month. The first project is a $3.8 million grant to Clarkson University for its biotech initiative to advance biotechnical and biomedical research in partnership with the Trudeau Institute. Total project cost is $4.2 million, and the project is expected to be completed by December of 2019. This grant is in addition to the $3.6 million grant that was approved by the directors at this meeting. The second project is a $100,000 grant to the Nassau County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Museums for the construction of curbs and pedestrian walkways at the Museum of American Armor in Bethpage, New York. Total project cost is approximately $113,000, and the project is expected to be completed by June of 2014. The third project is a $500,000 grant to Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation to support programs and initiatives to promote the Bronx. Total project cost is $500,000, and the project is expected to be completed by December of 2015. Thank you.
Glenn, thank you very much. Any questions from directors on the items as presented by Glenn this morning?
Yeah, this Clarkson ties in with the Trudeau deal?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks. Okay.
It's helpful that the funding is going to both parties in this collaboration as they work more closely together. Any other questions or comments for Glenn?
As an agenda, should we put the two together?
No, because it's a different funding source.
Yeah, okay.
That's a
all right.
different mechanism for getting the
Okay,
money.
all right. That happens.
I think we did
I'm aware of
EDF
that.
for...
I'm aware of that.
And
Okay.
this is considered like a non-discretionary.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, that's right. This is a member item.
Right. The
Next.
funding source is slightly different.
Yeah, but helpful.
That's right.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Any other questions or comments from directors regarding the item that Glenn has just presented? Any questions from the public on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion, please, for its approval.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, Glenn, for those items. I know one or all three organizations will be pleased to get this news, in particular Bronx Overall. We know them, and
Yes, they will.
that's an important grant for them. And now Glenn will, as he is wont to do, present his flood mitigation consent calendar items for our consideration.
Thank you again, Kenneth. In September of 2011, $50 million was appropriated to assist businesses and communities that suffered losses as a result of Hurricane Irene and Tropical Storm Lee. $9 million of this appropriation was allocated to the flood mitigation program for grants to counties for flood mitigation and flood control projects. An additional $7 million was also allocated to the program from the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for the program. 25 counties were awarded grants that will be administered by ESD. Each grant will be presented to the directors for approval as the projects near completion. We have one project this month, a $307,679 grant to Dutchess County. With this approval, the directors will have approved grants to 21 counties, totaling approximately $14.3 million. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Glenn, I've asked this question in the past. Of the 21 counties, out of how many that are eligible?
25 counties.
So we have 4 more to go?
We actually have one more county. There was 2 counties, Chenango County, Sullivan County, and Westchester County. Those projects could not move forward.
I see.
So we have one more county left.
Okay. So today is Dutchess County.
Correct.
Very good. Questions or comments from directors on this item?
I am a resident of Dutchess County. Does that prevent me from voting for this? In fact, I know all these
It's a big county. It's a big county with a lot of residents.
Want to make sure, that's all.
No, thank you, Mr. Dyson.
I don't want anybody...
Other comments, recusals, questions from directors? Any comments from the public on the item? Hearing no comments from the public, I'll ask please for a motion for
I
approval.
move.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Very good. Motion carries, and that is approved. Glenn, thank you very much. We're now going to do a series of administrative actions with various presenters, bringing them to us for our consideration. We're going to start with Lauren Axelrod from our counsel's office, who's going to present an item regarding to the pre-qualification of legal counsel. Lauren, would you go ahead, please?
Thank you, Kenneth. Good morning. The directors are being asked to approve a pre-qualified list of legal counsel that can advise the corporation as needed in relation to investments in commercial enterprises. These services will assist the corporation in implementing various programs intended to attract private sector investment in early-stage enterprises, including Innovate New York Fund, the Small Business Technology Investment Fund, and the Innovation Venture Capital Fund. We received many impressive responses to our RFP, and the proposed list contains 23 law firms, 9 of which are MWBA certified. All of them are well qualified to provide legal advice in the various subject areas relating to investments in commercial enterprises, including securities, general corporate law, tax, product and IP licensing, and structuring royalties. In particular, we were looking for law firms with experience representing investors as opposed to companies, and accordingly, all of the firms on the proposed list have extensive investor side representation experience. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Lauren. Questions from directors for proposal by Lauren?
Is this the list of the approved law firms?
We're requesting approval, but yes,
Yes.
proposed list.
And this is a consolidation?
No, this would be the list.
This would be the list, okay.
Right.
This is not, like, pre-qualified. Fine, that's the
This
thing.
of
We'll
those.
select from this list.
Right,
Right. Moving forward, we could select from this list.
different things, right.
And what's not here is the full list of every applicant, right? Somewhere it's deemed appropriate.
Right. Good. Okay.
Questions? Lauren, I think it's good that, while not overwhelming, there are some upstate firms so we have some geographic dispersal or diversity in terms of where people are. Albany, I know, Buffalo and Cleveland, that's geographically diverse.
I will note, Lewis and Monday does have a New York City office.
Yes,
I checked.
I realize that. Westchester, Buffalo, and so on. That's important that they're not quite a number in New York City, but very good. Any questions or comments from directors on this proposal by Lauren? Any comments from the public on the item? If not, I'll entertain a motion for its approval. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And, Lauren and Liz, thank you, and Steve Cohen, and I can think of others, Matt Watson. A lot of people are going to take advantage of these new services, no doubt. So thank you very much. Steve Golick, is Steve on the phone? He's in our Buffalo office, and he's going to present an item related to the procurement of abatement services in connection with the former Episcopal Church home. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. A little background: in June of 2013, ESD acquired the Episcopal Church home property that's located in Buffalo. It's 5 separate parcels totaling about 3.72 acres, and it contains multiple buildings. The property adjoins the Peace Bridge that connects Fort Erie, Canada, and Buffalo, and as such is a very important economic development property. At the time of acquisition, it was intended that ESD would stabilize and abate, remediate all asbestos and environmental contamination, and demolish certain buildings on the property to make it available for future economic development projects. As a result, on June 10th, we advertised in the contract reporter seeking a contractor for abatement and demolition services. A total of 7 submissions were received and reviewed by ESD, as well as our construction manager, Lyro Engineering. Based on this review, it was determined that the lowest bidder, Total Wrecking and Environmental LLC, is qualified to complete the work. Overall, what they're going to do is complete asbestos abatement and hazardous material remediation for the property and demolish 1 building on the property that is separate and apart from the main complex. Additional demolition work may be completed later, depending on availability of future funding, but will also be subject to future board approval. The property has been abandoned for multiple years, and it's a mess. I mean, it has undergone continual vandalism through the years. When we acquired the property, we boarded it up and have since cleaned up the place, but the vandalism was extensive, and there's friable asbestos just scattered out through the entire complex. So it's very important that we get this work done. It'll clean up the site, and then it'll get it ready for any future demolition that we plan on doing. The contract term is expected to be 12 months for an amount not to exceed $3,682,686, which includes a 20% contingency. So based on the foregoing, we're asking the directors make a determination of responsibility with the proposed contractor and authorize us to enter into contract with Total Wrecking in accordance with the board materials and to take all related action. Thank you. If there's any questions,
thank you, Steve.
Happy to answer.
Questions or comments from directors?
So this is only for abatement.
Well, there's actually, it's abatement, remediation, but there's also included, because of the pricing we got, we're going to demolish 1 of the small buildings. It's an outlying building. It's not connected to the main complex.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But
it's
primarily,
mostly
it's
abatement.
almost all. I mean, yeah, the demolition is just a minor part, actually, money-wise, of the contract. It's really an abatement remediation contract.
Okay, thanks.
Steve, I suspect it wasn't part of the procurement decision, but the name Total Wrecking leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, these guys are. Yeah, that's. I don't think they're very imaginative, but they do good work. That's bad.
Any other comments from directors on this item? Any comments from the public on the matter? If not, I'll ask please for a motion for its approval.
Move. Second.
A second by Mr. Dyson. All in favor?
Aye.
Totally approved.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Steve. And next, Antov is going to present, Antov Fadichian, I should say, will present the next 2 items on our agenda. Please note, after each item is presented, we're going to vote, and so we'll do two votes. Anton, would you begin with the Bronx Psychiatric Center, please?
Yes, thank you, Kenneth. The directors may recall that we are currently assisting with the disposition of portions of the Bronx Psychiatric Center located in the Morris Park section of the Bronx, just west of the Hutchinson River Parkway. The directors may also recall that in September of 2012 they approved a pre-qualified counsel list. That list groups law firms according to their areas of specialization, one of those areas of specialization being real estate. For this Bronx Psych assignment, we reached out to 4 law firms from that real estate grouping. 3 of them responded. Of those 3, it appears that Bryant Rubino provided the most favorable response based upon their knowledge and expertise, their competitive rates, and staff's recollection of their submissions and interview during the previous pre-qualification process. Bryant Rubino is a New York City-based minority-owned business enterprise. This up to $300,000 contract will be funded entirely from an impressed account that is to be funded by the potential project developer. So for these reasons, we ask that you authorize ESD to enter into a contract with Bryant Rubino for the provision of legal services connected to the disposition of the Bronx Psychiatric Center. Thank you.
Very good, Antoff. Thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions from directors on this item? No. Any comments from the public on the matter? If not, I'll ask please for a motion to approve.
Move.
Thank you. Second. Secondary. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries on top. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you are going to do a similar presentation for the Bayview project, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, the directors might also recall that we're involved in the disposition of the former Bayview Correctional Facility in Chelsea, located directly across the street from Chelsea Piers. Again, we reached out to 4 firms from our pre-approved counsel list. 3 of them responded, and of those 3, Showman Updike appeared to present the most favorable response based again upon their knowledge and expertise, their prior work with ESD, which was quite satisfactory, staff's recollection of their previous submissions and interviews during the previous pre-qualification interview process, and their competitive rates. They are also a New York City-based firm. They are a woman-owned business enterprise. And once again, this up to $300,000 contract will be funded entirely from an impressed account to be funded by the potential project developer. So for these reasons, we ask that you authorize ESD to enter into a contract with Showman Updike for work related to the disposition of the former Bayview Correctional Facility. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Antoff. Any questions for Antoff on this item? Questions or comments? Any comments from the public on the matter? If not, I'll ask please for a motion for its approval.
Move. Second.
Second. There's a motion and there's a second. Simultaneous second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Abstentions? No. Hearing none, the motion carries. Antoff, thank you for presenting both of those items. And congratulations as you move forward with your colleagues at 2 very important real estate development projects. The last item is really just informational. We have our quarterly budget variance report. No formal presentation on the item. Directors have seen the materials and certainly should feel free to consult with Margaret Tobin, our CFO, or Kathleen Mize, who's here, should they have any questions related to the budget variance report. There being no further business to conclude this morning, as we still can say this morning for the next 5 minutes, I'd ask please for a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Move.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful Labor Day holiday. We'll see you all in September.